order. We will start with roll call. Mike Bollier,
Michael Bollier, Hebron.
Mike Sharon,
Mike Sharon, Hebron.
Joe Coletti,
Joe Claddy, Hebron.
Kirsten Erlinson,
Online.
Pam, is she on?
She's online.
Kirsten Erlinson, Andover.
Pam Ferguson, Carrie Frolino, Drew Golphin,
Drew Golphin, Marlboro.
Gabe Marks,
Gabe Marks, Hebron.
Amy Romanchuk,
Amy Romanchuk, Marlboro.
Scott Soyette,
Scott Soyette, Andover.
Heather Summer, Hebron.
Heather, I don't know if you got me. It's Pam Farrington, Marlboro.
Thank you, Pam. Okay, if we can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, add and delete agenda items, if you can refer, oh, sorry, I keep doing that. Every month I skip something. Public comments. Hebron, Andover, and Marlboro community engagement and attendance at BOE public meetings is welcomed. The public comment segment of the meeting agenda is set aside so the BOE may receive public comments. Procedurally, public remarks will be limited to 3 minutes and citizens will be asked to identify themselves. Because the BOE is limited by the Freedom of Information Act to discussing only matters on the agenda, the BOE is not permitted to engage in a discussion on the comments presented. Do we have anybody who's interested in making public comment? Gabe, do you want to be the timekeeper?
Sarah.
Thank you. Sarah, go ahead. Yeah, you have to use the mic so they can hear you online.
Hello.
Can you give your name and address?
Yeah, is this on? Okay. Sarah Coppolino, 44 Hillcrest Drive in Amston. I am a soon-to-be parent of a 7th grader, and I am also a science teacher at the high school. And I'm here tonight to ask you to please consider a cell phone-free school day for the high school policy moving forward. No longer do I feel like we can ignore the impact that these devices are having on the educational setting, as well as on teen mental health, as a result of just a few factors like the social isolation that they create, the sense of we're all together but alone is pretty overwhelming, the attention fragmentation, and how they block students from having other experiences with those around them, as well as some of the addictive properties that are built into many of the apps and social media platforms that our students are utilizing throughout the day. So I'm concerned as a parent as well as a teacher. We've, just as a quick anecdote, some of the things that I've noticed over my 17 years of teaching, although definitely increasingly significantly in the last 2 to 3 years, you know, just thinking of our own selves, the experience of picking up a phone and immediately getting lost in a scroll and forgetting what your purpose was. And if you can imagine doing that over and over and over throughout the school day, which is what I see students doing, either coming in from the hallway or doing a quick check between problems, it's a disruption in the class day, and it's a distraction from the goals that we have in the classroom. And then if you put on top of that the idea that this is also happening in a developing brain where they're really craving that social interaction, and again, the phone is there and blocking it. In order for us to engage in the challenging types of lessons and tasks that we have in front of us in the classroom, whether it's putting together an argument or pulling together a complicated calculation, those are things that require sustained focus. And I would also say positive relationships. And both of those things are disrupted by having cell phones in the classroom. we know that relationships build better academic outcomes for students, as well as having many mental health benefits that prevent them from having other anxieties and issues in the classroom. They disrupt relationship building because of their constant nature, as well as, I love chemistry, but I am never going to be as engaging as an app that is designed to suck their focus. And the other way that I see it really disrupting relationship building and impacting the classroom setting is that by having to police these devices, I'm starting from a place of disciplinarian rather than being on their side. And so I really feel like it's important that we look at what we're doing for our students in this moment, because I feel like wherever I look right now, the research is really compelling and it's really speaking to my anecdotal experience in the classroom that these devices are causing a problem. So if we're serious about student mental health, if we're serious about social emotional learning, and I would also say if we're serious about retaining really high quality teachers, it's really frustrating to be put in that position every day of having to create a policy, enforce the policy. So I would really love to see, for the 7.5 hours of the day that they are in our care with our one-to-one devices that they have access to, I would really love to see us go cell phone free the way that the middle school has. So we do have a policy that works. I would love to see that extended to the high school. At a bare minimum, I would like to see us at least have a policy in place that is universal, that students, parents, and teachers can rely on and understand, so that it's not what feels unsustainable and piecemeal to me right now in the classroom. I really think it's what's best for our students as well as for our faculty. So thank you for hearing my piece.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I am Kathy Loisel of 55 Attawanhood Trail. I don't think I've met any of you, but I am also here to echo the sentiments about a cell phone policy at the high school. There is another school in our DIRG that did just implement a policy against cell phones. That would be Ellington High School. Unfortunately, they brought that forth mid-year, which was not a great decision, and they are using, I believe, lock boxes. There are pouches that you can use with a magnet release, and I know Illing Middle School in Manchester uses those. There is an article about that in the Washington Post at this moment. That was a new article. It goes through a lot of the benefits of this, some of those being higher scores on standardized tests, higher end of year scores as well. You are not worried that you're going to have a child changing in his or her PE class and then a parent calling with a lawsuit over a photo of a child. You are not worrying about TikTok fights in the middle of your school day, nor children taking 15 minutes for a bathroom break using his or her cell phone in there. There are kids in Gilead Hill making TikTok videos in these bathrooms. There are kids at Hebron L doing the same. There were photos of penises shown at, I apologize for wording, at the 6th grade social on Friday night. And these are things that are well chaperoned. These are normal school days. These are tiny bits of these stories. And going forth, we have to think of this like our parents and our grandparents thought of this with smoking cigarettes. We didn't know in 50 years what that would do to people. And we have the power now to change that in our own children in this district, making teacher retention not as big of an issue. I actually left the classroom. I was a 7-year teacher, high school, 9th through 12th grade, all 4. I collected 5 or 6 phones a day, and it's unfair to me, if I were a teacher, to say, you can't have a phone in my class, but I don't care if Ms. Capolino lets you have phones in there. We're pitting teachers against each other. We're not being universal as a school. It has to be a universal policy. You have to have a PR strategy to get all stakeholders on board, parents, students, teachers, administrators, everyone has to follow it. And it's going to be just like every other rule. But we have the power right now in 2024 to change this before 4 more years go by and it damages our children more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Amy DeCesare, 650 Gilead Street in Hebron. I am a mother of an incoming 7th grader, and the conversation that we're having is just one that's happening in grassroots in the community right now. A lot of us have read the book, The Anxious Generation, and it's just prompted a conversation. So on, the rethinking of it, of cell phones and smartphones that have grown organically amongst our children. And, I'm old enough that there was a smoking policy at my high school. So I'm not going to say how old I am, but there was a smoking policy. And, we've learned that that's not okay. And we didn't know years ago. And I think to rethink these smartphones and what they're doing to the kids, and I just purchased a smartphone for my son who's coming into 7th grade, but it's a lot of conversations that we're having. And I will tell you that it's also hard when you're one of the parents that are the holdout, because they'll be like, did you have fun with your friends? And they're like, well, they were on their phone the whole time. And so it is a concern to, I want them to be strong academically, but it's a time of social connection. And it's so important when they come here. And it's really hard when, you're the parent who's like, you should talk to your friends, but there's no one to talk to because they're all sucked into this virtual world. And so listening, I've spent some time starting to educate myself about some of the studies and what's going on. And a lot of schools are having success going phone free. And I don't think a year ago I would be standing here saying that this is a policy I wanted. But now that I've read about it and learned more, I think it's really something to consider. So thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Anybody online? Oh, good. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to come in and speak with us. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the addition of the agenda item that Colin passed out. We have a motion to add an agenda item to discuss the allocation of funds to the middle school blind project as agenda item 9.6 under new items.
So moved. Second, Dave Marks, Mike Boyer,
Thank
Hebron.
you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay. Oh. All right. So. Bill will be taking my phone out right now. That's where my notes are.
We'll try to teach you while
So, board, the chair report, I wanted to congratulate all the graduating seniors. We're looking forward to graduation on Friday evening. Really encourage the students to just really make good decisions in these last few weeks and stay safe. We look forward to seeing all these kids back in visits and graduation next year when they all come and watch their friends. If you're planning on attending graduation and it's outside, you need to, graduation starts at 6. As a board member, if you're planning on attending, it's 5:30 in the gym for the procession. As a board member, if you're planning on attending the 8th grade promotion, that's Friday morning and that's at 8. You need to go straight to the baseball field and meet at the stand there. I would be there by 7:45. I would encourage the board members, anybody who can fit that into your schedule, to try and do so. I was there last year. You were there, Gabe. I think you were there. It's really nice to attend. Congratulations to the baseball team who went to the semifinals. Somebody invited the Board of Ed to attend the semifinals, which were at Duncan Park, where the Yard Goats play. And I don't follow much baseball, but I thought, well, I'm going to go in and I'm going to see that. And I'm so glad that I did. As each of the kids went up to bat, their picture was up on the Jumbotron. And it was just, they did such a great job. It was really wonderful and exciting to see. Also attended the Evening of the Arts, which was fantastic. They had the cafe that was in the cafeteria where kids could sign up and perform. Some teachers performed. And then after that, we went into the auditorium where the band and chorus performed. It was really a great night. I would really encourage any board members to try and attend any of the events that pop up. It really gives you some insight into what's happening at the school. And, you know, it's certainly not an evening wasted at all. And I think that's it for, yep.
Well, I also would just like to congratulate our seniors who will be graduating on Friday and echo your sentiments of making good decisions and being safe. I would like to thank our teachers and staff, administration, everybody involved, obviously, in making sure that RAM functions as smoothly as it does. It's been a great year, and I appreciate what everybody does and their contributions to the district. To attend the Evening of the Arts year with my introduction years ago and continuing going. Baseball team went and saw them play to the elementary district. Fantastic. New event, which will certainly be something that we work into the end of the year celebration. I know Mary Rose went to Marlboro. I went with the high school administration to Hebron. It was great. Kids walked around the building. RAM seniors walked around the building. The students, the current students at the school, stood outside with their teachers and just greeted all the kids as they walked through. High fives. They had signs at Hebron Elementary School. They actually had taken pictures from the yearbook when our kids were 12th grade or were 6th graders. And our kids were like running around trying to find their pictures in the walls. And it was really, and you know, they're, oh, look at you, look at out. You know, it was kind of funny to see. And I can't really recall his name, but there was actually a Hebron teacher who had retired a couple years ago.
Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones, who found out about it, came back just to be there for the event. And I actually was there, and he was definitely somebody special because kids were gravitating to Mr. Jones. It was a pretty cool experience, and you know, lots of handshakes and hugs, and got some really good pictures. So again, just a really great experience for the students and the staff at the elementary schools. I think I heard positive feedbacks from them as well. So I appreciate the suggestion. It was fantastic. Yeah, we've got today was our final day of school. We actually recognized our two, Ginny Jacoby and Katie Bubendorf, our two retirees from the district, and wish them well as they head off to retirement. And as I said to them when I presented some gifts on behalf of the district and the board, moving forward, every day is a Saturday, and I wish them all the best for that. Yeah, we're excited about graduation, and we've got 4 half days left, and ready for summertime. Ready for summertime.
Okay, so the next on the agenda is 7.1, approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the regular May 20th, 2024 Board of Education meeting?
I'll make the motion. Joe Coletti.
Joe Coletti made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Mike Sharon.
Mike Sharon, seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, actually, there's a minor typo in there, or a minor miss. Yeah, I don't know. If
I think we fixed it.
Sorry, correct. Okay.
What you noted, we fixed and actually posted the corrected version in the online. So
I haven't looked at it again.
What was noted? Because it was just the vote that wasn't.
There was a vote that wasn't recorded.
Right. Yeah.
But I also, on this one, I don't know if it's in there or not. I had asked my comments be changed a little bit, the recording of my comments, just from it's a religious belief to something like it's a personal objection. So
we
did that as
accommodate
well.
that request,
Okay.
yes, sir. Yeah.
So the outcome of that vote has also been.
It should have been updated
Okay.
in the it should have been updated in the minutes, and that were reposted online.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Anybody online? Okay. All in favor? Opposed?
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't there.
One abstention. Okay. 7.1B, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the special meeting on May 29th, 2024 for the Board of Education meeting?
So moved. Scott, second.
Second, Gabe Marks.
Scott was first and Gabe was second. Any discussion on those minutes? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? One abstain.
Yes.
Yeah, we're good.
Do we not have the minutes from our, the meeting we had last week?
So those will be reviewed and approved at the next meeting because that meeting took place later in the week after we had gotten the agenda really pretty much constructed.
Okay,
We just didn't include it in this one, but we're going to be good to go the next time.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right, that brings us to old business. 8.1, we have a second read of policies. Do we have a motion to adopt policy 6205, curricular exemptions as presented?
I'll make the motion with a note that we're approving only the policy. This also includes a form or anything else. So we're approving just the policy.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I can speak to that.
Yeah.
So Scott brought up a really good point that I'll just make mention of. So when we are approving policies, the language of the motion is specifically to adopt the policy. In many cases, there's forms or regulations that are not part of the policy. Those can be updated by administration as necessary. If there's changes to a form, we can make those changes. So the motions are simply for the policy being adopted, which really is the role of the Board of Education. The board does policies. They don't get into regs. They don't get into forms. But
Okay, do I have a second for that?
I'll second that, Carrie.
Okay, so we've, Scott Soyet was first, Carrie Frolino second. Any other discussion on that? Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. Brings us to 8.1B. We have a motion to adopt policy 1160, community relations as presented.
So
So moved.
Okay, Gabe is first and Carrie was second.
Sounds good.
Any,
so I'm sorry,
discussion?
there is an errant TO in there that should not be in there. So there's a sentence that says the board expects that the students, families, and community to share the school's commitment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The word to right before the word share should be omitted. It's a minor typographical error. If the board is okay with it, you'll be approving it without the word to in that specific sentence.
Any other discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. 8.1C, do we have a motion to delete policy 6112, school day?
So moved. Scott second.
Second,
I'll second. Amy. Roman.
Amy Romanchuk, second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. 8.1D, we have a motion to delete policy 6114, drills for emergencies.
I'll make the motion.
Joe Coletti, second.
I'll second.
Is that Carrie?
Yes.
Carrie Frolino? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. 8.1E, we have a motion to delete policy 6115, silent meditation and pledge of allegiance.
I'll make the motion.
Scott Soyet, a second.
Second.
Carrie?
Yes.
Carrie Frolino. Any discussion on that? Okay. In favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Mike's opposed?
Yeah.
Mike Bollier is opposed?
We should do a roll call vote since it's not unanimous.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna do a roll call vote to make sure. Mike Bollier,
Nay.
Mike Sheeran,
Yeah.
Joe Coletti,
Yes.
Kirsten Erlinson,
Yes.
Pam Farrington,
Yes.
Carrie Frolino,
Yes.
Drew Golphin,
Yes.
Gabe Marks,
Yes.
Amy Romanchuk,
Yes.
Scott Soyette,
Yes.
and Heather Summer is yes. Okay, that motion passes. Okay. Brings us to new business, which is the discussion and possible action on the appointment of Director of Curriculum and Instruction.
All right. So I am pleased to recommend Mary Rose Mead for the appointment by the board to the position of Director of Curriculum and Instruction for Regional School District 8, effective July 1st, 2024. Ms. Mead was interviewed for the position by a committee consisting of district teachers and administrators and was unanimously recommended for the position. For the past year, Ms. Mead has served as the curriculum coordinator and instructional coach for the district and has done an outstanding job in this position. Prior to her current role, she was a teacher and English department coordinator for the district for 9 years and had previously taught at RHAM from 1992 to 97. She is also currently an adjunct faculty member for UConn in their School of Pharmacy, which I find intriguing, and has also worked at Manchester Community College, ECSU, and Yale University. And it is my recommendation that the board appoint Ms. Rose into this, or Ms. Mead into this position. Yep.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll
Okay.
second.
Mike Bollier, and second is Gabe Marks. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, motion passes.
So Ms. Mead has been kind enough to leave the lacrosse banquet and join us this evening. If the board would just allow Ms. Mead to step up to the podium and say a couple of things, I think it'd be great.
It doesn't creak like in the high school. I just want to thank the board for supporting this position in our district. It is so necessary and so needed. And I speak to that from being partly doing some of that this year and realizing how much needs to be done. But I also thank you for your support of my appointment to it. Regional School District 8, RHAM High School has such a deep place in my heart. As Colin said, in 1991, I saw a listing in December for a job teaching English out in this little Eastern Connecticut district. The only thing I knew was Amston Lake and the Frog Rock or Monster Rock, whatever. It was the green rock that's now the Eagle Rock. So some debate about what it actually was. It wasn't as beautifully painted. Got the job to teach English and run a drama program out here. And then I started running drama programs in the summer with RHAM. We bought a home here and have raised 4 sons, 3 of whom have graduated from RHAM and 1 of whom, God willing, will graduate next year. So RHAM hasn't just been a job for me. It's my home. And so now here we're 30 years later from that start, and I'm incredibly excited to be able to bring life to this position and to help our district grow in really important ways and to make the important changes for our students. I would be remiss if I did not take this moment to very publicly thank Dr. Penny Braisgell, Dr. Michael Cerrusi, and also Dr. Colin McNamara for their support, for their nurturing, for the coaching they've provided me throughout this year, and also for, maybe more important for me right now, the confidence that they have in me to really bring my energy to this position. So I am humbled. I am really grateful to be able to serve Regional School District 8 in this position. So thank you so much for your support.
And we're putting you right to work with the next agenda item, but
You ready for me?
well, God, if you want to jump over.
Okay, so, do you want to make a recommendation first?
No, I would just do discussion and possible
Okay,
action.
so 9.2 is discussion and possible action on the Regional School District 8 Teacher and Leader Evaluation and Support Plan. You have some enclosures, 9. Nope.
No, you're absolutely. So there's two enclosures in your board packet. There's 9.2A, which is a memo from Ms. Mead to myself. It kind of explains things, but I'll quickly summarize that. And then Eric's going to pull up a PowerPoint presentation. But just to quickly summarize, the Region 8 Professional Development and Evaluation Committee approved the revised educator evaluation plan at our May 15th, 2024 meeting. The next step in this process is for the board to do a vote to approve the plan so that we can send the plan to the State Department of Education as we are required to do by state statute. So what we wanted to do is provide a brief overview of the plan. And we've asked, as we said, we're putting Mary Rose to work right away, and she's going to get up and just do a brief presentation and certainly entertain any questions that board members may have about the plan before we vote.
So this is just very briefly about the plan that we've put together in conjunction with the state plan. So Eric, if you want to go to the next slide. This is our Professional Development and Evaluation Committee. You can see all of these names here. I would like to say we can be very proud as a district that we have a PDEC committee that not only meets the state threshold for PDEC, but exceeds it. And as a result, the plan that we worked on this year has been created collaboratively by a large voice of stakeholders within the district. Another incredible benefit of having such vigorous PDEC is that our yearly professional development calendars are full of meaningful and substantive learning for teachers so that they can bring really excellent practices to the students. Some of our presentations during professional development come from teachers on PDEC or other teachers who have offered their special skills. So our PDEC is just incredible. And having gone to a lot of the state trainings about this new TVAL system, I have found there are many districts that really don't have a PDEC. So I'm incredibly grateful that we have so many voices on our PDEC committee. If you go to the next slide, the thinking around the new teacher evaluation system that again is really from the state of Connecticut and driven by them is that it's based on continuous learning for teachers. And that is really the biggest shift in this evaluation plan, because up until this point, a teacher would be evaluated and they would get a ranking on where they stood, number 1 to 4, 4 being, outstanding, exceptional, 3 proficient, 2 working on it, and then 1 needing more work. There would be like 16 or 20 points. And so every evaluation was just an endpoint. It was, okay, you got ranked this way, and here's your rankings at the end of the year. But there wasn't growth built into that. And we want that for our students. So we certainly want that for our faculty because they're going to be the ones that are the change agents for the students. So the new model raises the bar. Evaluation is no longer an endpoint. It's an opportunity for collaboration, for reflection, for further goal setting, and for growth. And if our teachers engage in this process with fidelity, which our PDEC is very dedicated to having happen, then ultimately our students are going to be beneficiaries of these much stronger practices. And the same is true for district leaders, because the plan is also, there's also a part of the plan which is the same continuous growth process for district leaders. If you go to the next slide, Eric, the state of Connecticut issued a plan that hit all of their have-tos. We in Region 8 with our PDEC had a few things that we wanted to change. And I'm just going to go quickly through the changes and sort of explain why. The first change that we made was to prioritize teachers that are new to the district or new teachers, in general, just brand new to the profession, for goal setting, for observations, so that for those that are new, they have a priority of on the timetable so that we're really getting to those newer faculty members early on. So if they need extra coaching or support, even if they came from another district, we may have different standards. We may have different ways of doing things, making sure that we're supporting them. So that was one piece that we included. We added a cohort to the state plan. The state had separated how we were going to evaluate whom by cohorts, and they had two. And I'll show you a slide with that in a minute because I know it's a little bit confusing. But we did it. The reason we did it was to provide a more thorough and timely evaluation and support for teachers, again, who may have been employed outside of our district, not necessarily tenured in another district. And so we wanted to make sure we were including a little extra support for them. And clarification within the text of the plan, we also included to make sure that we noted that the goals that the teachers are setting, excuse me, the goals that the teachers are setting are linked to either a strategic plan or the school or district goals. I'm sorry, I'm just getting over being sick. Another thing, clarity around the scope and standards that will be evaluated when the teachers require an extra level of coaching or support or evaluation. So if there's a teacher who's needs more support, we are expanding the way that we might evaluate them. Excuse me. And then also clarity around when union representation will be part of the process. For the state plan, I'm sorry. I'm getting over bronchitis. The state plan is the default. So if the board doesn't accept our slight amendments, then we'll just default to the state procedural vote. So if you go to the next thing. So this is the evaluation timeline. It is from the state plan. One thing that is not explicitly written in the plan, but it's common practice, but I wanted to share that explicit in the state plan is that only people with an 092 or 093 are able to evaluate, and that holds true. And so for leaders, generally the superintendent would evaluate the principals, any central office staff. Sometimes they will also evaluate assistant principals. However, the state plan accounts for principals evaluating assistant principals. And then teachers are assigned to a building administrator, and they're the ones that do those evaluations. And that's not changing. That's a practice that has been part of practice for many years. So that's consistent. None of that is changing, but it wasn't explicitly in the plan. So I want to just mention that. On the next slide are the cohorts, and this is where we made a little bit of a change. So the state had the two cohorts, and we did delineate the cohorts a little bit differently to provide more support. Oh my God, thank you. I'm hanging on by a thread. We delineated that so that, again, it's really about not just accountability, but offering support to new teachers in the district. Part of our conversations around this are that we know that people are leaving the district. We just heard somebody in public comment, not leaving the profession. And we just heard somebody in public comment speak about that. So making sure that we are really supporting new faculty is incredibly important. And so we separated the cohorts into new teachers and then teachers from other districts who had not yet been tenured. So we're really making sure that they're in that cohort one. They have priority of really focusing on them. But we also, for teachers that are new to the district, but were tenured somewhere else, we still created a separate sort of plan for them because, again, they're coming into a new situation with new expectations. And so we want to make sure that we are providing, not only providing them support, but also keeping an eye on how things are going for them. I think we sometimes forget, even if someone's taught for a long time, when they come into a new place with some new expectations, that they need support for that. So that this concludes the slides that we put together. I appreciate the chance to bring this for this procedural vote. And once we do vote, you vote on this, we just can go into the state portal and send it through. I'm very confident that they will accept it. I've been working with Sharon Fuller and Jessica Ocasio at the state, who are the people that are going to actually review this. So I'm very confident that they will approve it. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
You said earlier, you made a reference to 092 and
Oh, sorry,
I
yes.
don't know what that is.
Thank you.
Anybody else does?
So an 092 certification is an administrator. I actually wrote that in there, but I skipped it because I couldn't talk. It's an administrative certification. So principals, vice principals, curriculum coordinators have an 092 certification. And so you go through a leadership program. An 093 would be what Colin has, which is a superintendent certification.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions?
No, bringing that up, answered the one I had, which was who did the evaluation.
Oh, right. Yes, perfect. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Very much.
Sorry about
Way to get through it.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the Regional School District 8 Teacher and Leader Evaluation and Support Plan as presented?
So moved.
Okay, so Drew
Yes.
first and Scott second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, motion passes. Brings us to 9.3, which is the personnel report.
So there's an enclosure in your packet that identifies that we have one resignation as a part of our personnel report for this evening. Austin Carey, career and technical education teacher for RHAM High School, has resigned effective June 14th, 2024. Mr. Carey has been employed by RHAM since August 29th, 2022. We certainly wish Austin all the best with everything moving forward.
9.4 is discussion and possible action on renewing the food service contract with Whitson's.
At this time, I will turn things over to Ms. Gallo.
So in your packet, you have enclosure 9.4. As part of last month's meeting, you got to meet Whitson's regional director, John Pernier, and he informed us about Whitson's and what Whitson's does for us. As part of the USDA requirements, there's federal language that allows the food service, the school food authority, to renew a contract with our food service management company for up to 5 years. So there are 5 annual renewals. This will be our last renewal under this contract that we have with them. And during next year, next fiscal year, we'll be starting to go out to bid. That's just procedural, how things will be done. So basically, I'm looking for the board to allow the superintendent of schools to enter into contract for the 4th extension.
So it's the 4th, but it says amendment number 3, so I got a little confused in the subject line.
And amendment number 4 will run through July 1st, 2024 through June. Oh, I didn't change the title. I'm sorry. That's my bad.
So that should be 4 of
4,
that too.
yes.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to get my dates right.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to authorize the superintendent to enter into a 1-year contract extension with Whitson's?
So moved.
Drew Golphin, a second.
A second, Gabe Marks.
Gabe Marks. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay.
Thank you.
And back over to you again, around to 9.5, the financials.
All right, so 9.5 is the expenditure and revenue report. As of May 31st, 2024, there is a projected net favorable position of $1,318,833, less a projected shortfall in revenue of $218,444, leaving a revised net favorable projection of $1,100,389. The shortfall in revenue is in large part due to the excess cost. So excess cost is based on our high cost special ed students. That's not a guaranteed formula. And then unfortunately, if students leave us, then we do not get that money for educating those students. So that's where the majority of that lies. There were some additional, like our rentals of our school facility this year have been going through the roof. So we're still seeing a lot there. So in August, you may learn a lot more as to what happened when we closed out the year. Again, based upon the projection, it appears that the areas in the budget that have realized the highest savings are salary, purchase services, and benefits. Again, in August, I will tell you more when the whole year is finalized. The capital improvement project, the central rooftop unit, will start on June 17th. The facilities condition assessment, we're still awaiting the finalized report. Capital non-recurring, the drainage project, and the field for North 316, knock on wood, has been going well. We've had a minor hiccup, but I think after Wednesday morning, we'll learn a lot more, but it should be fine. And are there any questions that the board may have at this time? Oh, Mr. Soyet, do you want me to point out?
Sure.
Okay, so if you look, so the memo page, the page next to it, at the bottom, so the question that Mr. Soyet had was about transfers. So at the bottom of the page, you have expenditure budget status, then you have the title original budget, and you have the word transfers. So all those transfers are cumulative. And then if you go to the page right after that, is a printout from Visions to the financial system. You'll see the title that says budget and adjustments. Adjustments is the transfer, and anything that's captured in there is what's happened in that line, in that object code, that one particular account number.
Yeah, but it's not just this month.
No, it's not this.
Thank you.
So the excess cost,
Mhm.
is that what money we would get from the state?
That is money from the state.
And I thought, maybe I wasn't paying attention right, but I heard that the state was coming through with more.
That'll be for next fiscal year, not this fiscal year.
Okay.
If it
Cool.
happened during the legislative process, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's why I got my years mixed
Yeah,
up. Yep, okay, good. Thank you.
All right, so moving on, we have oops, just make sure. Okay, so 9.5B is the food service. Unfortunately, due to the timing of this meeting, I do not have anything to present at this moment. So again, I will have two separate reports for the August meeting so you can see them. And then 9.5C is the student activity. It balances with the bank. Are there any questions that you might have on 9.5C? Okay, so hearing none, I'm going to keep going. Your handout for 9.5D was the STIF account. We earned a very nice dividend of $1,655.93 for the month of May. Are there any questions that the board may have on the STIF account?
Just going back one, I was trying to find my
sorry.
notes. The levies.
Oh, the dollars. Yeah, I'm sorry. So I round to the nearest dollar here.
Okay.
So you don't see the pennies. So that's why it's and I was debating whether I should tweak it, but I just figured I'm leaving it as is. So
Okay.
I just feel that's more transparent. But thank you for asking that. Yeah, it's just rounded.
Yeah. The question was why the levies for each town was off by $1.
All right. And so there were no questions on 9.5D. And then 9.5E is the CNR and reallocation. So as part of closing up for year end, the director of facilities has informed me that there's projects that have been finalized and there's money that's left in certain projects that he would like to release and put into unallocated. So under capital improvement fund, the replacement of the exit signs, the available funds after everything has been finalized is $1,872. And he would like to reallocate that from the replacement exit sign project to the CIP unallocated. And then the same is occurring with the high school roof repairs and their capital non-recurring, as well as the HVAC review for indoor air quality. So those $2 amounts he would like to move from their respective projects into the CNR unallocated account. Are there any questions? So hearing none, this will require a motion by the board.
So do we have a motion to approve the reallocation of $1,872 from the replacement of exit signs projects to CIP unallocated, and to approve the reallocation of $3,650 from high school roof repairs and $23,321.56 from the HVAC review of indoor air quality to CNR unallocated?
So moved.
Okay. Mike Sharon first,
Second, Dave Marks.
Gabe Marks second. Any discussion on those?
Would we, just curious, would we put the money anyplace else?
So normally we put it into unallocated because at this moment we just don't have a project that is requiring the funds. Unfortunately, there is one coming up, but at this moment. it's
Yeah, I was just
cleaner.
looking over
Yeah,
at
it's
the
just cleaner to
blinds,
put it
right? I
into
mean,
unallocated and then take it out of
okay,
unallocated.
just move around in the
Yeah.
buckets, yeah, just, okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. 9.5F, budget appropriation transfers.
So in your enclosure, you have 30 journal entries that total $346,941.95. Those are the transfers that happened in the month of May. I will be bringing any transfers for the month of June to the August board meeting.
Okay.
Any questions on these?
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the transfers for May 2024 in the total amount of $346,941.95?
I'll make the motion.
Joe Coletti?
I'll
Second?
second.
Scott Soyet, second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, that brings us to,
We have the
9.6.
9.6, right, I think Ethan had it ready. All right, do we have a motion to move $10,141 from capital non-reoccurring unallocated to the middle school blind project?
I'll make the motion.
Joe Coletti, you have a second?
I'll second, make sure.
Mike Sharon?
Just to remind board members, there was a handout that I distributed earlier on that explains the reason that we need to make this transfer. We can certainly take any questions if people have them.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, anyone abstain?
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to committee reports. Facilities, safety, and transportation.
We have not had any facilities meetings since our last session, and so the schedule for next school year's facilities meeting will be forthcoming.
Okay. Finance, audit, compliance, and insurance.
So we haven't had any meetings,
Right,
but
we
we after this agenda was published, we identified a need to have one. So funny how things can change at a moment's notice. So we are actually scheduled to meet tomorrow night at 6:30 to discuss an agenda item that I will anticipate will require a special board meeting, hopefully within the next couple of weeks to just for some business that needs to be done. Unfortunately, it came really late last week and it didn't provide us time to include it in this agenda item. But again, if we have to schedule a special meeting, it could be virtual, it could be very, very quick of the full board.
Okay. Negotiations. Kirsten, Amy, or Mike?
We have been actively meeting. We have come to an
Tentative agreement.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, we've come to a tentative agreement with one of the non-certified bargaining units. We have to wait for that group to vote on that tentative agreement to ratify it. Once it is voted and ratified by the union, it would then come to the full board for a vote and ratification. I'm hoping that we can combine the special meeting that needs to happen for the sake of what I just talked about with finance, with that special meeting, try to be as efficient with time as possible. And negotiations continue to go on with the other non-certified group that we have been working
Okay.
with.
Is next year the cert?
Yes, next fall, we will be negotiating with the teachers union. Yep.
Policy committee?
We, excuse me, we continue to review the policies. We've been meeting every month, but I think we may have had our last for the school year. And we are reviewing them for accuracy and how they align with Connecticut state statutes. Colin, do you know off the top of your head how many redundant policies we have deleted and how many policies have been updated?
Redundant policies, I can tell you that we've updated a fairly significant number. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 55. And
56 policies have been reviewed.
so 56 reviewed and updated, and we've deleted 21 policies over the course of this school year. That's not factoring when we started this process last.
And if I misspeak, somebody please correct me, but pretty much what the redundant obviously they're redundant. Like for instance, the policy about the flag today, we already had a policy addressing it. So there was no reason to have two policies. So we've been doing a lot of work like that. And I would expect that that will continue at the start of next year as well. That's all.
Thank you. All right, program and communication. Mike, is that you?
I'm not actually sharing that.
I don't think I don't believe since the new board has been seated, I don't think that we've had a meeting of that program subcommittee since the seating of the new board.
Just put your name first. So
Yes, strictly alphabetical.
You didn't do this. So
I couldn't read the sign
That's the
Be
rule.
careful, it's like when you don't show up for a meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. School choice committee.
You guys okay if I take it? So this is a subcommittee. I will own the fact that I neglected to include on the agenda that we needed to have the identification of a subcommittee chair, and since it was a special meeting, we couldn't add that to the agenda. So my mistake. That the subcommittee chair will be identified the next time we meet. We met last week. Had a really great conversation with the group. What I did was I shared information with that group that had been previously shared with the finance subcommittee back in the fall. It was really just an overview of the proposal or presentation that had been given by administration for Columbia Public Schools back in the fall. Board members asked some really good questions. I'm working now to identify, see if I can find a colleague from another school district who actually is a superintendent who takes students as a school of choice from another town. And hopefully we can find maybe a Board of Ed member from that same town who would be willing to just talk with our subcommittee members. There's an interest in trying to get a sense of, what it's been like becoming a school of choice and, the pros and the cons of it. I think it's a great step to take because it gives the board members on the subcommittee a chance to ask direct questions to people who have lived it and are continuing to live it. So once I'm able to, I've spoken to a couple of colleagues of mine and I've got some leads, but I haven't locked anybody in yet. But I am hoping to be able to do that in the next, to be honest with you, I'm going to get through the next couple of weeks. We're going to go into July and then I'm going to press some people and see if we can set up a meeting sometime, beginning to mid-July and have that conversation. I think that accurately captures things.
Okay, Carrie, we're back to you. Any updates on CABE?
No updates on CAPE.
Okay. So we're back to public comment. Hebron,
Before we do
Andover.
that, just a correction to what Colin said. The program committee did meet, discuss the Latin program.
We did meet.
Yes.
Latin program.
Yes.
Right.
So we did meet, but that was, not this past month.
We discussed it, correct. We discussed it at the last one. So
Right.
you're right. Thank you for.
Yeah, so we have met this year, but
Yes.
not in the
Yes,
past month.
correct. Thank you.
All right. So Hebron, Andover, and Marlboro community engagement and attendance at BOE public meetings is welcomed. The public comment segment of the meeting agenda is set aside so the BOE may receive public comments. Procedurally, public remarks will be limited to 3 minutes, and citizens will be asked to identify themselves. Because the BOE is limited by the Freedom of Information Act to discussing only matters on the agenda, the BOE is not permitted to engage in the discussion of the comments presented. Is there anybody that would like to make public comment? Yeah, good. Yeah, you have to go to the mic so they can hear you online. Make the long trek.
Ooh, they fixed it. Good evening, everybody. Ethan Spinelli, 22 Rivendell Road, Marlboro, REA president. We'd like to thank the board. On behalf of the teachers, I do want to thank the board for their work this year. It's been an exciting year. It's been a rewarding year, and on behalf of the teachers, I thank you for them, for the work that you've put in, for taking care of the children of this district and looking after this school. We really appreciate it. I hope the board takes seriously the comments that were made earlier. Cell phones are an issue. I know it's something I've talked with the high school administrators for at least 3 years now. We do have a board policy, but it's ineffective in aiding teachers that are struggling in the classroom. I am a teacher that struggles every day and forces kids to put their phone away. There's a holder on the door. The kids come in my room. The phone goes away from August 28th till the rest of the year. Even today, I have to have a discussion with students. Please put your phone away. It's day 176. And I am still saying to students, put your phone away. And they still argue on day 176. It just does not help foster a positive relationship from day one. And it would be nice to see the district have a serious conversation with everybody, parents, teachers, students, about what's happening to our children in the classroom with this constant use of cell phones. If you don't believe me, I urge the board members, come into RHAM one day. Come stand in the atrium. Just watch kids in the hallway bumping into each other because they're staring at their phone in the hallways. It will be a difficult task, but it's for the benefit of our children. It really is. Which segues into my next comment, which I probably sound like a broken record. Another resignation this month, a young teacher leaving the profession, not just leaving RHAM. I don't know if the superintendent had a chance to do his exit interview, but I certainly talked with every teacher that leaves. His concerns were twofold, lack of support in student behavior, i.e. cell phones, and salary. What's interesting and what's concerning for me is this teacher was poached by the private sector. Usually in public education, we try to poach teachers from the private sector, but now they're reaching in and grabbing teachers. Places like EB and Pratt, they have a labor shortage. There's a workforce shortage. So they're doing more on-the-job training. And guess what more on-the-job training needs? Teachers. And they know teachers are hard workers. They know we know how to deal with people. They know we know how to deal with large groups. And they know we're underpaid. So in a district that can't even compete with our 3 sending towns in terms of salary, it's very concerning to see a young teacher just willing to walk away for what he said was twice the salary. And honestly, I don't blame him. They offer me twice my salary. No offense, you'll have my resignation next month. I hope that's not that case, but it would be a tough decision, I can tell you that. Last comment, if I do have time, TVAL was mentioned tonight. The teachers are very excited for the new TVAL program. It's going to be a great change compared to the old, you're proficient. There's nothing more motivating than being told you're proficient at your job under the last evaluation. I'm proficient after 25 years. That makes me feel great. But this new program is going to be great. It's going to allow teachers to have more autonomy in setting professional goals. It's going to be great for our administrators to get in and really dig in with their staff to understand what their needs are and really what their maybe goals and aspirations are, throughout their career. And hopefully that's going to translate into retaining more teachers, specifically as mentioned, like our new teachers, really letting them get in there, becoming involved and listening to the teachers and what they see and what they feel is needed in the classroom. So I hope everyone has a great summer. I appreciate the work you've done this year, and I look forward to seeing you in September. Not too soon, but I do look forward to seeing you in September. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have somebody online who wants to make public comment?
Heather, do you have your hand up for public comment?
I do. Thank you. Sorry I couldn't be there tonight. I just wanted to piggyback off a little bit of what Ethan said. Heather Connors, 82 Cardsmill, Columbia. I'm a teacher at RHAM Middle School. I just want to thank the board. I'm especially happy with the PDEC changes. I think it's going to be a great change for teachers and to really help to develop long-term goals and to help teachers work more collaboratively with one another rather than focusing on trying to focus on minor things in a single classroom. That these new goals really allow us to kind of collaborate and work on more long-term whole school goals, which I think is really great. And also, I just wanted to congratulate Mary Rose as well. She's been an amazing mentor. She has helped so much in my transition to this district from the last district, and I think she's going to do really awesome things in her new position. So I just wanted to congratulate her and thank you all for making an awesome choice in choosing her.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to make public comment? Okay. That brings us to calendar events for 14.1.
I think the calendar event of substance at this point is promotion ceremony on Friday morning for the middle school and graduation at 6 o'clock for the high school. I am, if any of you have any sway in any way, shape, or form with the weather gods, wish for sun, whatever it takes. Right now, the weather is a little questionable for Friday evening. It's the forecast right now is there's a chance of thunder showers popping up in the evening. I met with the high school administration today and Michael Schlehofer, and we're going to have a follow-up meeting tomorrow to discuss contingency plans for outdoor graduation, which would be indoor graduation in the gymnasium. We're hoping that doesn't have to happen because it does limit the amount of tickets that are distributed to seniors. We do have spillover room in the auditorium for people that wouldn't get tickets to actually be in the gymnasium. But again, unfortunately, it's something that we are going to plan for the worst and hope for the best with regards to weather on Friday evening for graduation. So send us positive thoughts. As far as what's the last thing? Student discipline. The data is in front, is at the end of the packet, and I can certainly try to take any questions if people have it.
Anybody have any questions online? Okay. All right. So we're going to go into executive session to discuss the superintendent's evaluation and review and discussion of the following non-affiliated employee contracts: building substitutes, assistant speech and language pathologist, administrative assistants to building principals, IT technician, data systems technician, human resource generalist, occupational therapist, directors of accounting, facilities and IT and communication, business manager, and superintendent. So do I have a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing superintendent's evaluation and 2024-25 non-affiliated employee contracts?
So moved.
Okay, and we're going to invite Colin to join us for the executive session. So we have Carrie as a first, Gabe as a second.
Yeah.
Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstain? All right. Thank you. Congratulations.